God made the world and all its wonders for man to explore. And there are countless wonders just outside your front door. Now join natural world photographer and journalist Roger W. Downs as he shares the stories of the people, places, music, and cuisines he has discovered as we explore with RWD.
Hey, welcome back in, or if this is your first time listening, thank you so much for taking a chance on this podcast. If you like what you hear, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you may be listening on. Now, the other day, I was out taking some wildlife photos near Lake Lure. Now, that's a lake in western North Carolina. As a matter of fact, that's where they shot the movie Dirty Dancing with Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. Yeah, I still have a crush on Jennifer Grey, but that's neither here nor there. But as I was driving down through Lake Lure, I passed the Flowering Bridge. Now, it's been there for a few years, but I had never stopped by. So I thought, well, I've got a few minutes. I'm going to walk through. And it was one of the most delightful gardens that I've ever had the chance to visit. And I've seen a lot of different gardens throughout western North Carolina. And that inspired me to bring on our guests today, who are Kathy Tanner and Debbie Clark, the co-board presidents for the Flowering Bridge. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me, but let's get right to it. Can you share how the Flowering Bridge first came into existence and why? Kathy?
So in 2010, the new bridge between Chimney Rock and Lake Lure opened, and the plan had been years before that to demolish the old historic bridge. And the town of Lake Lure leadership worked with the state of North Carolina and basically rescued the bridge. And the state deeded the bridge to the town of Lake Lure, and a group of interested citizens led by a resident named Bill Miller, who had grown up near Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts, where a garden club had taken an old trestle bridge and turned it into a garden. And he remembers as a child being dragged over to see this garden by his mom. And so he led a group of us, about 60 or 70 interested local residents, to start discussing the idea of planting a garden on our bridge. And for about 4 months, a steering committee worked in 2011. And in the steering committee, we created the organization, the board of directors, the 501c3 status. And the first board of directors was voted in November of 2011. And so we just started raising money. The town of Lake Lure was very supportive from the beginning. Our first big fundraiser was that we sold bricks to interested community members for $100, and we called it our seed money. And that's what got us started.
Seed money. Yeah, Kathy, I see what you did there.
Seed money. We always have a sense of humor, Roger.
So, Debbie, let's talk a little bit about the flora that visitors will be able to see when they come to the bridge.
They're going to see a lot of perennials, annuals, shrubs, trees, a lot of natives, and also some hybrids. So just about any type of plant that's out there, we probably have it somewhere on the bridge.
No doubt whatsoever. But will visitors see a variety of different flora when they visit throughout the different seasons, like spring, summer, fall, and winter?
We have a lot. It's really neat to see this. We do have flowers pretty much all season. We start out with going into late winter. We have some shrubs that are blooming that are really very fragrant. And then you start into the daffodils and the snowdrops and the early spring blooming flowers. And then from right on there, it just continues to go and things go down and new things come up. And then into summer, probably about May, we start to see a lot of the hydrangeas going into bloom throughout there's quite a few of those on the bridge. And then right now we're seeing the hydrangeas and pretty much everything else is in bloom. We'll continue right on through to fall when we get a lot of asters coming into bloom along with a lot of mums and things. So we have continuous blooms, a little less in the winter, but we do have blooms in the winter.
Okay, so Kathy, let me ask you this then to follow up on that. Who kind of determines what flora then gets planted on the bridge?
So this is a great story. when we first started designing the gardens back in 2012, there was a team of 6 of us who had horticulture backgrounds and just gardening backgrounds. And we quickly realized as we started to grow the gardens that, 6 of us couldn't manage it. But we also had a lot of people coming in from the community that wanted to be part of the project and help garden. So over time, over probably 6 months or a year, we all started to specialize in an area. So we make decisions as a garden design team, but each of us has an area or a specialty. For instance, we have a rose chairman who manages the rose garden on the bridge, but also all the other roses that are throughout the gardens. And we have a rock and succulent chairman. We have a tropical garden chairman, a pollinator chairman. And so we help each other with design ideas and plant choices. So it's a group effort, which is, I think, one of the most exciting things about this project.
Well, you just mentioned pollinators, and I was just kind of curious, do you work with some of the local beekeepers? Because I know that there are companies that will roll in with beehives on trucks and let the bees fly out and pollinate a field or a bridge full of flowers. So do you work with beekeepers like that, almost like bees on demand?
We haven't stepped into that yet. We did have a family that she was a beekeeper, and they lived about, the distance of 3 or 4 blocks from the bridge. So there's no question that the bees were coming in back and forth between us and her hives. But she just did, I think she only had 2 hives at the time they moved out of town. But that would be an interesting thing. We thought about that over the years, about connecting with them, because there's several, I think, around our area. One neat thing too that Debbie and I are working on, we like to keep a kind of a running list, per se, an Excel spreadsheet of the blooms we have on the bridge. And we are up to about 2,000 different varieties of plants. And as Debbie said, 30 varieties of roses and 30 varieties of hydrangeas.
Wow, 2,000 plants. So that makes you start to wonder, how did you come up with the design on the bridge, that limited amount of space you have to put 2,000 plants into it? Who designed that layout?
So it's interesting, Roger. I was actually a part of that steering committee and the first board of directors. One of the things that we had to do and wanted to do when we began working on the project, we had to hire a landscape company that would come in, and engineers that would come in and inspect the bridge, look at the structure of it, see what weight we could handle, what kind of waterproofing and drainage would be on the bridge. And they helped us with our original designs. We as gardeners, the 6 of us who were starting the project, we had a good idea in mind of having that serpentine walkway with the overlooks and the different leveled beds on the bridge itself. So we worked with them in that design phase. And then we visited several gardens. We went to Charlotte and to Asheville to look at gardens, big gardens that where we could get ideas. And we came up with the plan of having the 12 different beds, and each bed has its own theme, because it would have been hard to take that bridge and have a cohesive garden that looks like a cohesive garden. We decided not to do that. So you'll see that formal rose garden, the formal herb garden, the tropicals, the songbird. There's a garden there, and honoring our local charter school, Lake Lure Classical Academy. It's their school colors. We have a fragrant garden. So we just chose all the different themes for each of those planters so that they each have their own personality.
So let me get this right, Kathy. What you're really saying is that there's a whole new adventure in gardening every couple of feet along the bridge, which is really cool, by the way. And again, our guests today are Kathy Tanner and Debbie Clark, the co-chairs of the Flowering Bridge Board, which is located in Lake Lure, North Carolina. And when we come back, Debbie is going to surprise us all with a plant that's on the bridge that you would never think would be there in a million years, because it's based in the Blue Ridge Mountains of western North Carolina.
Don't wander off now. Explore with RWD will be right back after this.
Hey, Roger W. Downs here again, and I just want to take a second to personally invite you to come see some of my photos. If you didn't know already, I'm a natural world photographer, and I specialize in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Nantahala National Forest, and different local natural areas all over western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee and down into the upstate of South Carolina and North Georgia. And I even venture down along the coast of Florida. Please take some time and just view some of my images. It would mean the world to me. My website, simple to remember, WNCPhotoArt.com. That's WNCPhotoArt.com.
Welcome back to Explore with RWD.
Welcome back. Again, I'm your host, Roger W. Downs, natural world photographer, and our guests today are Kathy Tanner and Debbie Clark, the co-chairs of the Flowering Bridge, which is in Lake Lure, North Carolina. And it is a beautiful little span of a bridge that you can travel across and enjoy this amazing garden that they have put together to fit the bridge. And it's really an adventure. And speaking about an adventure, Debbie, what plant are most people shocked to see when they visit?
I think one of the things, the plants that they're most surprised to see is a banana growing in this area. And we have some bananas that are even blooming right now.
Really?
Yes. And a lot of times people will say, I didn't know bananas could bloom. And now we have not had any fruit from them, but we have had bananas that currently there's a couple down toward the dog garden that have flowers on them.
Wow. I didn't know that there was banana plants there. That's
and
really
most people don't, because then they want to know how far north can we go with those. But yes, we do have bananas, but no actual fruit.
I'm assuming you get a lot of questions then about the different types of plants there from people asking questions like, hey, since you guys are the experts, I would really like to plant this in front of my house or wherever they would like to put a beautiful plant.
Yeah, and so this would be something that is cool, Roger, in that we have education is our number one mission. Mm-hmm. So as far as labeling plants, we spend a fair amount of money on really nice signs that identify the plants off the bridge on the east and west ends. They'll tell you the common name, the botanical name, and if it's native to any of our area, even like the United States, if it's a native. And then in the gardens, on the bridge itself, we have a list of plants that are in the bed, and then there's a little tag by the plant so that if you see a plant that you like, you can just look at the tag number 5 and find it in the list. So even if we're not there, people have a way of finding the names of the plants they're interested in. We are there 2 days a week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, from 8:30 till, in this weather, we leave about lunchtime, but if not, on nice days, we're there till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we're also there just at different times during the week. Like when you met Wynn was on a Tuesday or Thursday. Most of us live close by. We'll stop in, and check on things, or if we have a special event going on. One cool thing that happens, we have a dulcimer group that likes to come play at the bridge, and they'll just find a little spot to sit as the group of 5 or 6. And one of us will walk down and meet them and visit with visitors while they're playing their dulcimers.
Wow, so you get serenaded while you wander through the garden for free. That's really cool. But when I was there, Debbie, I really enjoyed the Peter Rabbit garden that you had for families. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The Peter Rabbit garden has the tic-tac-toe in it. It has hopscotch. It has a viewing box where they can see the root systems of plants through plexiglass. It has a little garden where they can actually go over and dig in the garden. We have some tomatoes and marigolds and lettuce and stuff growing in that little area. They have a potting table where they can go over and pot up seeds, and they can take a little plant home with them that they can grow. Has a little water feature that's an old barrel and a watering can that they can go play in the water. And has a teepee. So it has a lot of different, and we planted some of the plants that are around that area are plants that would have grown in her garden over in England.
Oh, wow. So it really is like you're in Peter Rabbit's garden in England. All you need now is someone just to speak in a British accent, right? But how much is it cost for a family to bring their kids out to enjoy that and go home with a plant?
No, there's no cost. It's all free.
What? Completely free? Like there's no charge at all. It's free.
Right.
You'll have to forgive me for a second, ladies. It's not typical that you hear someone say, oh yeah, bring the kids on out. We're going to send them home with free stuff Anybody who wants to stop by is more than invited. Just swing on by Peter Rabbit's garden here in Lake Lure. That's just amazing.
Did you see Mr. McGregor on the shed?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I saw the mailbox, and I was looking at that, and then I saw like the bunnies in the garden where kids can get their photo taken, which I thought was neat.
Yeah.
Like the little window's been painted, so it looks like he's actually looking out the shed window into the garden.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. So tell me about that. Whose idea was that?
It was kind of we had a lady there who had a garden prior to, and she loved rabbits. So when we talked about starting a children's garden, she didn't want her rabbit things to leave. So we decided, what could we do to make a children's garden that was around rabbits? And that just came up. So It was a perfect thing to do, and the kids love it.
That's really neat. And I take it when you guys do you have tours for families then? I mean, do you offer that?
We'll do tours for a lot of people. We have one of our board members is actually education and tours, and so people can go to our website, and we have a brand new website. Actually, you can go to our website and go to the visit and tour section, and it'll send a message to our tour leader who will set something up for you. We frequently have. It's mostly master gardener groups or community organizations, beautification groups, people coming from churches. We have a lot of retirement communities that want to bring a group in for a tour. And our tours are always free, done by the volunteers that are in the garden.
I mean, wow. All of those activities and that beautiful garden that you can walk through at any point in time, all for free. I'll be honest with you, there's some other gardens in the area that aren't so free for you to go see. So I just think that's such a cool benefit to being in Lake Lure.
Yeah, one of the newest things we've just started is scavenger hunts. So that just started today, and the kids have been having a lot of fun with that.
Really? So what's in the scavenger hunt? I have to ask.
Well, they get a little card out of a mailbox that says scavenger hunts on it, and then they can go through the gardens looking for certain things that's on the card. So they go through the gardens looking for those things, trying to mark off as many things as they can find with the help of mom and dad.
What a great activity for families this summer, especially when they're struggling to pay for gas and just make ends meet. That's an activity they can have a lot of fun and make memories with their kids, and it doesn't cost them anything. So I also saw when I was on the bridge, you had a cell phone tour, right?
We do have a cell phone tour. And you can go in, and there's a phone number that you can call, and it will connect you, so you can go from garden to garden to garden and hear about that garden. It's for people who are maybe blind and hearing impaired. They can go in, and it gives them the opportunity to feel different types of plants in the garden, like lamb's ear. It's very fuzzy, like a lamb's ear. So that gives them a chance when they go through with the cell tour to learn about the plants in each garden site and also do some sensory.
I know we had something exciting last month. Last month was the Deaf and Blind Awareness Month. And so we had 30 sight and hearing impaired visitors that came with interpreters. And they were all from our sort of the Western North Carolina mountains. They came and did a tour with us. And we each got to take 3 or 4 of them in a group through the gardens. And it was probably one of the most special tours I've ever led, just because the minute you took their hand and they felt the fuzzy leaf, or put their hands through the water, and they could, some could hear it, some couldn't see it. It was just, we had the mix of both of those, and it was just so moving to see the enjoyment and the joy on their faces when they went through.
Just wow. You guys are amazing and deserve a huge round of applause for making that garden and all the activities there free to the public, because it isn't funded by the government. It is funded by donations. And speaking of which, we're going to talk next on how you, listening right now, can help to keep this garden free and available for everyone when we come back.
Don't go too far. Explore with RWD. We'll be right back.
Hey, Roger W. Downs here again, and I just want to take a second to personally invite you to come see some of my photos. If you didn't know already, I'm a natural world photographer and I specialize in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Nantahala National Forest, and different local natural areas all over Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee and down into the upstate of South Carolina and North Georgia. And I even venture down along the coast of Florida. Please take some time and just view some of my images. It would mean the world to me. My website, simple to remember, WNCPhotoArt.com. That's WNCPhotoArt.com.
That wasn't too bad, now was it? Welcome back to Explore with RWD.
Hey, thank you for continuing to hang out with us. Again, I'm Roger W. Downs, natural world photographer, and I'm joined by Kathy Tanner and Debbie Clark, the co-chairs of the Flowering Bridge Board located in Lake Lure, North Carolina. It's a beautiful garden that has all sorts of free activities for you and your family, but nothing truly is free, is it? Kathy, can you tell us a little bit more about the board and how people can donate to help the garden?
We're all leaders in a certain area: marketing, education, volunteers, our database of donors, fundraising, infrastructure, and of course garden, and we have an outreach. So we're all very active in soliciting for the bridge. We have a lot of garden centers nearby that will sell to us or donate. But we're big on fundraisers, and we've been very successful over the last couple years in raising money. We have donation boxes on the bridge. We have a Pathfinder brick fundraiser where you can donate $200 to the bridge, and we engrave a brick with an inscription that you want. And that's been very successful. We've had that going on since 2013. I would say, Debbie, wouldn't you say there's 400 or 500 bricks on the bridge now at this point along our path?
Yes.
So it's a very successful fundraiser. And so really from that perspective, we're all donations, all volunteer, all donation.
And we have people who drop off plants to us. Maybe they've got surpluses in their gardens, and they'll bring plants to us. A lot of times we'll walk in on the bridge to work and we'll find things sitting at the shed door where somebody has dropped off an art piece that they didn't need, or a cement pots they don't need, or just plants will be sitting there bagged up ready for us. So we get things from all over, many between community individuals and then also just some of the local businesses. They donate a lot of things to us.
Yeah, and Roger, you mentioned the special features that you saw on the bridge. I don't know what was out when you were there, but we have for years always had features going on at different times of the year. We've done planted chairs, painted doors, planted hats, bunnies on the bridge, tiptoe through the tulips. Right now we have fairy gardens on the bridge. We must have about 40 different fairy gardens throughout the bridge, just tucked into the gardens. And most of the time the gardeners just find little things in their yard, or, we have a theme. This year our theme is repurposed containers. So we'll go to the dollar store, little thrift stores, and find fun things to put in our own little fairy garden theme. But we also give each gardener a amount of money for their specific area, and they manage that for what they need out for their part of the garden, whether that's plants or if they would like a trellis or some other feature. It might be that, or it might be plants.
That's really kind of cool. So they all get their own little budget, and then you're like, all right, go to town.
Exactly.
And we also recycle a lot of things. We take example, maybe Kathy one year bought in a little small dresser, and we painted it up and planted plants into the drawers. Take old chairs and put plants into the seat. An old grill becomes something that's recycled into something holding flowers. So we got canoes and a rowboat full of plants.
Wow. I missed that. That's kind of cool though. I mean, they used rowboat canoes. I mean, there's a variety of different things that you're able to take advantage of. And recycling, obviously a lot of people are big into that because we do want to save the planet and keep it the way we had it. We want to pass it on to the next generation. And that's really cool. So, We did kind of touch on a little bit of how visitors can donate, but can they also get on your website and donate as well? Or is there a certain way that they can write a check and bring it to you? How does that go about?
Yeah, our new website is fabulous. You can go on the donate section. You can donate through PayPal. You can mail a check in. Just you can come and put money in the donation box. And then the big one is the Pathfinder brick. You can actually go online and find that form and order a brick for yourself, for your family, or for anybody you want to honor or remember. And this fall we will have this is our second auction. We have a great relationship with the Lake Lure Artist Group, and last year they painted wooden bears, hand painted or mosaic, in wooden bears. This year it's bear heads, and there'll be an auction through Bidding Owl in September and October, where we will be auctioning off the bear heads, and that's a big fundraiser for us. And it's fun. There'll be 40 bears throughout the gardens.
Yeah, the Lake Lure artists have been great to us. They've also painted a lot of the murals throughout the bridge. That's all done by local artists.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the murals. Those are really awesome. So, Kathy, why don't you brag a little bit about those for us?
So we have 3 painted murals. One, it's a really neat one where you can stand in front of it. It has butterflies and poppies on it. So a lot of visitors will come and stand in front of the mural and have and take pictures. We have
the Peter Rabbit Garden one.
Peter Rabbit, yes, the Peter Rabbit mural, and then what's the other one, Debbie? Well, one that's really cool is called Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. And I don't know if you saw that when you were there, Roger, but it's actually a huge mural. And we actually have 6 living walls painted, installed on the face of that mural. It's very cool. And we love that mirror, mirror on the wall. I mean, when you hear children come running in the garden and they see that, and then people will stand there, take a selfie with the mirror in the background.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
It is really cool. So it's really a combination of not just nature, but also art. It's all combined right there on the bridge.
Definitely.
So what's one of your biggest challenges that people could help you out with? I mean, is there something that the locals here or even people coming to visit could help you to overcome?
Without question, for us, it's all about, donated money. Come and visit for sure. If you can donate, please do, because that's how we do what we do in the garden. Because it's an expensive venture to maintain. With the garden itself, we do have irrigation throughout the gardens, but donating to the bridge is a huge, huge help.
And if you would like to make a donation, you can online when you visit lakelurefloweringbridge.org. That's lakelurefloweringbridge.org. And don't worry, I'll put the link in the description of this podcast so you can easily find it. Again, I want to thank Kathy Tanner and Debbie Clark, the co-chairs of the Flowering Bridge Board in Lake Lure, for their time today and sharing what you and your family can find for free and do this summer at Lake Lure. And if you're not familiar with where it's located, don't worry, put that link in the description of this podcast as well so you can find it easily on Google Maps. Again, I'm Roger W. Downs. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you've loved what you've heard here today, please hit subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you may be listening on. And if no one else has told you this yet today, I love you, and I know the good Lord above loves you. He's promised you that. So make sure to count your blessings, because life truly is good. And no matter what you've done, He will forgive you. All you need to do is ask. So until next Wednesday, peace, love, and coon dogs, y'all.
Thank you for listening. Visit us online at explorewithrwd.com to discover more about Roger, his photography, podcast, and adventures. Or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Explore with RWD. Remember, we didn't inherit the earth from our parents. We borrow it from our children. May God bless you and yours. Now get outside and go explore. Explore with RWD is produced by Downs Media Incorporated. All rights reserved.